keep having fun because it's more of the ACC on ESPN. It's all part of our Saturday showcase presented by 5-Hour Energy. Today, here on the banks of the Ohio inside the Yum Center in Louisville. The top 15 matchup, number 9 North Carolina and the number 15 Cardinals. A whiteout tonight. And what a better day to run it back. The second game in this series this season. The first time they met at the Smith Center earlier this year. The Cardinals, a huge win.
Nwora is hot in the early going as well. Sutton the steal again. And the finish for Hina. A big statement by the Cardinals as they drub the Tar Heels here in Chapel Hill. It was all Louisville. A lot of long faces on the other side of the court.
Didn't think we had the energy, the execution, the toughness.
So glad to have you with us here this afternoon. Mike Cousins, Chris Spatola. It's pretty simple today. 2 top 15 teams, and since their last meeting, they've played some of the best basketball in America.
Louisville's won 6 straight, an ACC player. One of the big surprises in the country this year. A hard-playing, hard-nosed team. They're also really talented. And North Carolina has won 4 straight since that game in Chapel Hill. They didn't shoot it well. They didn't defend in that game. They are doing both much better since.
Huge crowd, great atmosphere today, and a 3-way tie for first at the top of the ACC. Duke, Virginia, Louisville, and the Heels are nipping at the heels of those 3 teams in first place. Chris Mack in his first year at the helm for the Cardinals has his team 16-5 overall and playing exactly like the bracelet that he wears reads. Tough, together, and unbreakable. Here in the 3rd largest college basketball stadium in the country, Roy Williams, and you're at number 16 at the helm for North Carolina, hoping his team can pressure the ball a little bit better than they did in the first matchup and certainly shoot it better than they did the first time they saw Louisville this season. Opening tip won by Garrison Brooks, and one of the fastest teams in the country, North Carolina, goes to work against Louisville. Starting 5 for Carolina, the same they've used in 20 of 21 games this year. That's gotten them to a 16-4 mark and 6-1 in the ACC.
And that's been one of the issues for North Carolina, is scoring up front and protecting their basket defensively up front. First possession, they throw it right inside. Great position from Garrison Brooks. Just can't finish.
Nwora finds Cunningham at the basket, and the troubles at the rim persist. This starting 5 for the Cardinals has them out to a 6-1 record when these guys take the floor first. Long shot, Kenny Williams claims nothing but front iron. Here's Nwora, their leading scorer, 18 points a game, feeding in for Williams, who fades and misses.
But already Louisville on any missed shot, the concern is to get back. Louisville can really play that pack line defense if they have a chance to set it. And of course against Carolina, transition defense is always critical.
And to be able to keep them off the offensive glass as well. Johnson had the offensive board. May turns it into 2. The Tar Heels get 35% of their own misses. 4th in the ACC and top 30 in the country.
And good to see Luke May score early. Did not play well the other night against Georgia Tech. And, you know, this ceiling for North Carolina, I think, is tied to 2 things. One, they have to guard better, and that's tied to effort. And so they have to play with a more consistent effort. The other thing is, offensively, Luke May and Kenny Williams have to make shots. For them to beat really good teams, those 2 guys have to be better offensively than they've been.
May with just 4 points against Georgia Tech last time out on Tuesday night, his lowest since he scored 2 against Miami in the ACC tournament last year. All 2 minutes in with a size advantage against Cunningham. May passes, turns it over, and it turns into a Cam Johnson foul. So May and Johnson within the first 2 minutes, each with 1 personal foul, and that was something that played them in the last game.
How many times did we hear Chris Mack say yesterday, Luke May loves to skip pass? And right on the money, Dwayne Sutton reads it, makes a great play. That's scouting report, and that's who Sutton has been all year. A jack of all trades.
Chris, it was fun to get to sit courtside here in this arena yesterday and watch practice. A lot of times you'll see teams go through the other team's half-court sets. What Louisville was practicing was simply the Carolina break. Hard rejection at the rim. As Williams got up to defend it, and a foul is called on the sophomore from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Well, this is one of the reasons they have inserted Malik Williams into the starting lineup. Stephen Enoch started the year was in the starting lineup for about half their games. Malik Williams, this is what he does. He gives them a better defender, a better rim protector, and he's going to challenge at the basket.
And he helps stretch the floor, 34% from 3.
Well, and I think that's kind of where he wanted to be last season. He was allergic to that red painted area. And I think Chris Mack has convinced him that you can become a pro if at times you visit that red painted area and can be a defender in there.
Here's Sutton going to work, had a season high 17 in the first matchup against North Carolina. He turns it over. Johnson runs the floor, absorbs contact. Count the basket, goaltending as Williams chased it down from behind, and the Tar Heels lead.
North Carolina converts so quickly. Cam Johnson was out of the starters blocks. A nice feed over the top, and you get a bucket.
Speed like that, the ability to play in unison getting down the floor, leads to their high scoring average, about 88 points a game. 3rd best this year in college basketball. Morris pass defended by Brooks, even though he didn't see it coming. May turnaround. Too much on it, and Sutton, one of the better rebounders in the country, averaging 7 a game, snares it for the Cardinals. Ten to shoot. Williams for 3, and he rattles it through to put Louisville in front by 1.
And there's that face-up shot you were talking about, Mike. I mean, he ultimately can be a pro. And again, he becomes a pro when he can combine interior play with that really good face-up shot he has.
How about the fix on that play? May was going for the high-low with Brooks with some of the worst spacing imaginable between 2 bigs, but he comes back, gets the feed, and now he's at the line.
Yeah, look, it's been talked about a lot. Luke May has not offensively scored the ball the way I think a lot of people assumed he would coming into this season. The thing I love about him, though, is he may be one of the more efficient guys in terms of having the basketball and doing something with it. He may possess the ball in a game a grand total of 45 seconds because he catches, he makes a quick decision, and he goes to work. I think length this year has bothered him. He's had to really be their primary scorer on the interior, and at times, bigger teams have really bothered him.
With that foul, it was the second on Malik Williams for Louisville. So he takes his seat. An errant shot put there at the rim. And the Tar Heels run. Right behind the back, down the lane. Grabs his own miss. And misses again. A 3rd try. No. Stephen Enoch, the rebound, the big man who comes off the bench and has excelled greatly in that role, joined off the bench by Ryan McMahon, who's got it on the perimeter. Through contact, up and in. for the junior from Sarasota, Florida. May, fundamentally sound against Wara, where he's got a bit of a size advantage.
And they are going to him on the block, a steady diet early in this game.
Whistle, foul under the basket against Garrison Brooks, his first.
Both teams attacking the paint. Here's McMahon, look at the in-out. And a little flipper at the basket, and then Luke May, steady diet early. Beautiful move on the interior.
It's a whiteout today here in Louisville as the Cardinals go with some special uniforms to honor Muhammad Ali based off of his trunks. So they've got the white shorts with the black piping and the white tops. And a pretty impressive look for the Cardinals. His wife Lonnie there in the red shirt and his son Assad in the sweatshirt in the middle there. And they just voted to name Louisville's airport after him as well. For travel purposes, still Standiford Field, but it will be named after Muhammad Ali as well.
I've read a lot of books on Muhammad Ali, many of which are leather bound. I read them in my office of rich mahogany. But the affinity he had for the city of Louisville, it is a theme, and everything you read or hear or anything about Muhammad Ali was his affinity for this city.
There's Wara for three, and I'll be sure to not ask which cologne you wear as well.
Please don't. It will burn. It'll sting the nostrils. I can guarantee you that.
My cousin's Chris Spatola, glad to have you here for game number 2 of a great quintuple header today of Hoops on ESPN. Robinson with the pull-up and good for 17.
And no leaky black, and that's a guy who has started to play better of late offensively, which in his case means shooting the ball.
Enoch much more effective from closer range with the ball in his hands. Brooks finds May on the duck in against Cunningham. Size mismatch. And May hits front iron.
Yeah, that's where you'd love to see May hold that a little bit longer and try to make Cunningham guard him down there. You rush the shot against a smaller player.
Sutton's three breaks the tie at a dozen. Wow. And the lob for Brooks. Quite simple from 7 Woods.
That early offense from North Carolina is devastating. There's no gimmicks in what they do. You know what's coming, and they are so good at executing.
Woods takes it right to the hole against Sutton.
Even there, you can preach and practice all you want about getting back North Carolina in transition, and you just can't simulate the way Carolina does it. They are so good at pushing the tempo.
Wara into 3 defenders. Offensive foul on the Cards' top scorer. This season, NCAA coaches and Infinity are taking a timeout to fight cancer with Infinity's $1 million donation to the American Cancer Society. And late last month, Coaches versus Cancer, they wore special shoes, Jackson's Journey, to honor their strength coach Andy Kettler's son Jackson, who passed away from cancer at age 2 back in 2016. So a special gesture there by the Cardinals staff. Cam Johnson got it.
He's finally healthy. You know, everything has healed up for Cam Johnson, and we're starting to see this year how good a talent he is. He's actually the tallest guy in their starting lineup at 6'9", taller than their 2 front court guys.
You see number 42 there in the Carolina blue, Brandon Huffman, who averages about 3 minutes a game for them, but at 6'10", gives them a ton of height. Even since Sterling Manley went out, who's now missing his 9th straight game, he's only played about an average of 2 minutes a game in his absence. The small lineup has worked for them at times. Sutton had to put it up with 4 on the shot clock. Here's Nasir Little, standout freshman, MVP of the McDonald's All-American game, averaging 11 and 5 in about 20 minutes a game. Little not deterred, but he does turn it over, and it's going the other way with a foul on him. This is an Infinity Timeout for the win. Learn more at infinitytimeout.com. Tonight, a Super Saturday top-ranked boxing card. 3 world title fights highlighted by the WBO featherweight title on ESPN. Valdez Tomasone is also on ESPN Deportes at 10 p.m. Both of those guys are undefeated. Then midnight on ESPN Plus, English and Spanish. Oh! Cut me! Somebody cut me! Oh! You'll see much more competitive action than that tonight with Top-Ranked Boxing on ESPN after a quintuple header of hoops here on ESPN.
Are you concussed? Should we put you in the protocol?
You know, I don't think I've ever...
that felt good.
I don't think I've had a concussion, but I may have been accused of having one before.
I took boxing at West Point. You're in good hands.
By the
No
way,
worries.
that's also on ESPN Plus with the undercards starting at 7 Eastern. He's Chris Spatola, and I, with cartoon birds circling my head, and my cousins. Nicely done. Foul on Louisville's Stephen Enoch, his first on the big man. Great matchup here. Kobe White, Kristen Cunningham, 2 of the better point guards in the league. Cunningham for Louisville, which has been a surprise team this year, picked 11th in the ACC preseason poll. That's out of 15 teams, and here they are today, almost midway through the first half, 7-1, a 3-way tie for first place.
You know, there's this impression that Louisville is this little engine that could. Like they're this hard-playing team that's kind of hit above their weight. And they are a hard-playing team. They're also incredibly talented. I mean, I give Chris Mack a lot of credit. He's taken some good players who were on the roster last year who had much more potential, and he's combined it with some really good transfers. And I think part of the narrative coming into this game after the game in Chapel Hill was that, you know, North Carolina didn't play well and Louisville just played harder. And I think there's part of Louisville that says, no, we beat them. Part of the reason they played that way is that we're a good team.
And that's something that certainly fuels them, because you don't get to 7-1 in a league that's had more postseason success as of late than any other in the country without being a good team. Offensive foul. Ted Valentine right on top of it, joined by Bert Smith and Earl Walton, the trio of officials today, and that's number 2 on Carolina's Cam Johnson. He sits, as does May, for the Tar Heels. Should be interesting to see if they dump it inside here to Enoch. McMahon from deep. Contact with Williams, but no call.
And what a rebound by Little.
White, a step back 3. Cunningham pushing, can't get by White. So 4 out, 1 in. Look, Wara drives the lane and takes a hard foul from the backside.
He is one of the big surprises in the country, and it was hard to see his feet there. I mean, if his feet are outside that restricted area, to me, that's a charge. But Jordan Nwora has been one of the more improved players in America this season. And I think a big part of it is he had to lose some weight. He had to take better care of his body. He had to learn how to become a better practice player. He had to improve his work habits. And I think Chris Mack and his coaching staff did a nice job approaching him and handling him when they got here, saying, look, we have a guy who should make a lot of money playing this game, but he's going to have to become a better worker. You know, it's interesting, Dino Gaudio, early in practice in the fall, sat Jordan Nwora down after a practice, and he put up 30 names on a marker board. And they were 30 NBA players, small forwards, power forwards. And he turned to Nwora and he said, can you guard any of these guys? Like, what do you think you're good at? And Nwora said, I'm a shooter. He said, okay, I agree with you. But can you guard any of these guys? He said, no. Well, in order to play at that level, you're going to have to guard people. And there's no question he has been much improved on that end.
Now the fourth biggest scoring increase in college basketball this year, the first among major conference players, as he's added about 13 points to his scoring average from a year ago. And as they absolutely throttled Wake Forest on Wednesday night, a pretty non-competitive game from start to finish, Nwora had 20 points in 31 minutes. Top of the scoring, also 7th in the league in rebounding. Nice shot from Kenny Williams. Nwora had his foot on the line, brought it back. See how quickly the Tar Heels get down the floor and they go inside. That's a man amongst boys. Huffman at 6'10", 250, just knocked Malik Williams out of the way like a feather.
He big boyed him. I mean, that was no match for Huffman.
He's already at 1 from deep. The Cards have gone cold offensively, down by 7. Takeaway, they run 4-on-2. Cunningham, the shovel, and a lay-in for Sutton. Every part of the rim from 15 feet except dropping through. Nasir Little's miss. Perry for 3.
And that's a quick shot from a guy who has really struggled. Darius Perry has really struggled to shoot it. He has struggled all year, and that's a quick shot in a game like this from that kind of a guy.
He's only 6 for 27 from the floor in ACC play. This being the 9th game of the conference season. Well, one not-so-great look is reciprocated by another at the other end.
This is what they call a Debo move right here. Get out of my way, little man. I'm coming through.
Wherever you go, however you go,
I believe I'm Wooden Award worthy because of the dedication I have to prepare and the long hours I spend in the gym. My coaching staff, my teammates have done an unbelievable job helping me get to where I'm at, and I have a long way to go. I'm going to do whatever I can to continue to play as well as I can to help my team succeed.
That's Carolina senior Luke May putting in elite effort to win college basketball's highest individual honor in our Wendy's Wooden Watch. He's not alone in the ACC either. Got good company, one of 5 players in this league vying for that title. Inside of 8 minutes in the first half, a top 15 matchup here with a huge crowd, great atmosphere at the Yum Center in Louisville as North Carolina looks to avenge a loss where they fell by 21 at home earlier this year to the Cardinals. Got a foul on the floor.
The last 2 turnovers for Louisville have been the first pass in the fast break for North Carolina. They both have come from the paint. And the ball shooting out towards Carolina's end. And of course, again, Carolina historically the best at converting from defense to offense.
The numbers bear that out this year too. This, in terms of tempo, possessions per game against an average tempo team, is the fastest Roy Williams has ever had. And look at the point guards in the other fastest teams.
And that has a lot to do with it. You know, those are the 3 fastest point guards in the history of North Carolina. And also, you are what you emphasize. I mean, there's a reason North Carolina is always a great rebounding team. It's emphasized. There's a reason that they are so good in transition, because it's emphasized.
Kickball. Enoch was looking for the pocket pass there to Quan Ford, the grad transfer from Richmond. Shot clock at 20 seconds now. And surprisingly, Roy Williams said, even though this is his fastest team, into now his 16th season at North Carolina, he wants them and thinks they can go faster. One key component, he said, would be having a center like Tyler Zeller, best rim-to-rim big man that he's had. Wara with a sweeping step-back 3. A high opportunity for the rebound, and Williams robbed Sutton. Johnson from way deep, got it for 3.
He is shooting the ball so well, and it's an effortless shot, easily repeatable, and guys find him. Keeps his spacing, again in early offense. Cam Johnson, it is wet from deep.
Cam Johnson connecting on a deep 3 for North Carolina to extend their lead to 10. And since the 13.5-minute mark, it's been the Tar Heels outscoring the Cardinals 17-4. That double team near midcourt, it's going to come at some point, you just don't know when. And over and back is the call.
And it's usually out of a timeout. And I guarantee you, Chris Mack reminded his team in that huddle, but you have got to be ready, and that backup dribble, that retreat dribble, just brought him back to the half court. So you really had 3 defenders, the 2 Carolina guys in that timeline. Nicely executed. They were so good at timing that track.
Johnson wants it again. Yes, back-to-back triples for Cam Johnson.
The best 3-point shooter in ACC play. You have got to find him.
Love to see a 3-point shooting competition between him and Ty Albar from Virginia Tech. Sutton wants to answer, sends it wide. Louisville trying to break of its own. Robinson rejects it. Here comes Woods. With a hand in his face. Hard to do against Enoch, who's at 6'10". Right now, the Tar Heels enjoying their largest lead of the afternoon. And Enoch trying to score like he did in the first matchup when he had a season-high 17 points.
Well, and his position in that first game was about 2 feet closer to the basket. The farther you get him away, the lower his percentage going to be.
You saw Duke pick up the win earlier. Carolina, Louisville now, and 3 more games to finish off our quintuple header. You've got Kentucky on a 7-game winning streak, Michigan State, a national title contender, and #1 Tennessee trying to get the longest winning streak in program history by getting 16 in a row. And P.J. Washington, the last 3, has played probably the best basketball in his time in Lexington.
And Cassius Winston has been one of the 5 best players in America. He certainly has been the best player in the Big Ten, and they're 7-1 without Josh Langford. So this idea that their season is pack it up and it's over is, if you think that, you are misled.
And an excellent version of 94 feet today as well.
Saw that.
Jay Bellis and Tom Izzo going out in the snow. Quite a change up from the beginning of the season when Jay was on the beach in Mountain.
I noticed that in the segment, Jay is wearing a skull cap. I don't want to speculate as to why he had one on and Coach Izzo, with his luscious head of hair, did not.
One's tough. And then the other wrote a book called Toughness. Sutton down the lane, James with 2. The quick offense the Cardinals have been looking for. Traveling the call back the other way with 4.5 before halftime.
Every good team has a guy like Dwayne Sutton. Nice awareness by Cunningham and an outstanding cut down the middle of the defense by Dwayne Sutton, the transfer from UNC Asheville.
One of the things Roy Williams said to us in the locker room before the game, they needed better pressure on the perimeter. The Cardinals have not gotten great easy looks from 3 when they shot the lights out at the Smith Center, and that too has prevented easy entry passes. Those are the types of looks that Enoch got the first time around, and Brooks makes it look easy.
Well, they've been a two-way team in this first half. I mean, give North Carolina a lot of credit. They have been much better on the ball. They've been aggressive against crossing actions and ball screens, and then they have gotten the shot they want on the other end. I mean, let's not make any mistake here. I mean, there is no question that that game in Chapel Hill reverberated with this program. And Roy Williams did not think his team played well the other night against Georgia Tech. I'm sure the last 2 days of practice have been hard and competitive. And as he told us before the game, the guys know, his players know.
That's good when you win by 23, though.
Get into the game at halftime, but Spatola, you took a cheap shot at Cousins, and you did it with a huge smile on your face.
I've done that for all the color analysts out there who've always wanted to take a shot sometimes at their play-by-play. Are you calling it a sucker punch, though?
Yes, because I'm a sucker, and you punched me.
He saw the gloves. He knew I was wearing gloves.
There's a long list of analysts who've been waiting to do that, so they're celebrating today. Largest lead of the game right now, 17 points for North Carolina. 22 combined, as you just heard, between Johnson and May. 12 for Cam Johnson and 10 for Luke May.
And that's where Louisville is going to have to re-emphasize, is getting that ball back inside. But I'll tell you where they also got to re-emphasize is defensively. Carolina getting whatever they want, and really a lot of it just off the dribble.
Seen a couple times now, whether it's on a drive or a post-up, Malik Williams having trouble holding his own. Defensively, that is. And there, Little makes a bad day worse for the big man. Robinson's brain and his body were on 2 different pages. Back to the Cardinals with 2:05 to play.
Nasir Little has grown exponentially. How about the block with the left hand there? You know, a lot's been made about his progress throughout the season. And you know the way that you know what they call the way that Roy Williams has handled Nasir? It's called coaching. And to Nasir's credit, he's handled it the way that you would want him to. He gets it.
White on the run out, and Ryan McMahon is down for Louisville. Slow to get up after a collision with Brandon Robinson at the other end of the floor.
Yeah, I don't think that's...
And what the crowd is looking for now is going to be a flagrant foul with the elbow.
Yeah.
So are the officials, yeah, they're going to walk over to the monitor and have a look here.
Yeah, a good play by Williams, and then, you know, I don't think that Brandon Robinson intends to catch him in the face. I mean, clearly he's reacting to McMahon climbing into his space.
So there was no call. There was not a common foul called there. Ted Valentine, the official, was standing right there, did not make a call. And so if you think about flagrant one, the definition from the rule book, you have excessive contact with an opponent, illegal contact caused by the swinging of an elbow. Flagrant two, which is also an ejection, there would have to be, at least judged by the officials, some intent there to make a malicious play, and that does not appear to be the case here.
No. Well, his head's turned when he actually makes contact. So to me, it's neither excessive nor is there intent to make a play like that. Now, that's not going to make Ryan McMahon feel any better, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's a contact sport, and there are tough plays that happen, and I did not think that was a flagrant one.
Earl Walton came over and just said incidental contact. Wara trying to free himself up to score, and it's been hard for him. 1 for 6 from the floor at 5 points for their leading scorer, who averages 18 a game. Going back to the first time that these two teams met, I think our colleague John Gassaway said it well. There's the N1 for Cunningham. 40 minutes is not enough to judge one team one way or the other. But now that we're going to have 60 going on 80, you get a much better impression of what these teams are like.
Nice hesitation there by Cunningham. And at that point, if you're Brandon Robinson, just let him take the layup. But, yeah, I mean, look, Louisville started that game 7 for 7 from the field. They out-rebounded North Carolina by 9. And Kobe White only played 6 minutes in the first half. He was on the bench 2 minutes into the first half. They just didn't play hard. And they have certainly competed here in this first half.
Perry puts it on the floor. Williams a corner three. Couple of possessions left. The Heels can go 2 for 1.
But I think Roy Williams has tried to impress upon his team, who is talented offensively, that at some point you're not going to be able to outscore good teams. At some point along the way, you're not going to shoot the ball well, like they did in the first game against Louisville. At some point, you're going to have to get stops. You have to take pride in stopping people. And they've won 4 straight since that Louisville loss, and they have started to do that much better, as he was telling us before the game.
Louisville 7-1 in the league, has won 6 straight. And North Carolina averaging 88 points a game, 3rd best in college basketball, and right on track for that today. Another trip to the free throw line and a chance for 3. The 6'2 Cunningham sneaking his way through the defense, and it's the 2nd foul on Little.
What a revelation he has been. The grad transfer from Sanford is Louisville's most important player. He's not their most talented, but he's their most important. His story is incredible. When Chris Mack got here, he was having a hard time. He wanted to supplement their roster with some transfers, and he was having a hard time locating them. So he goes down the ESPN list. Jeff Borzello had a list of potential grad transfers. Chris Mack lands on Kristen Cunningham, whose brother Trey was actually a manager here at Louisville for Rick Pitino, and the rest is history.
From Homewood, Alabama to Louisville, Kentucky. The freshman Kobe White to the senior Luke May. Missed it with the left hand. Another opportunity, and it's good at the buzzer for Little. North Carolina at exactly half its scoring average at the break in the run-it-back game at halftime, 44-28.
North Carolina has been the tougher team. They have been the harder playing, tougher team in this first half.
They've been running, they've been scoring and defending at the highest level possible. Chris Spatola, the knockout punch. After our break, it's the Jeep Halftime Report. Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. A sparkling first half for Cam Johnson, perfect from the floor. Joined in that scoring effort by Luke May, who had his best half in the last 6 games since January 8th against NC State, as he put 12 on the board. And North Carolina's up 44-28 over Louisville in a top 15 matchup here inside the Yum Center in Louisville. Glad you're back here with us. Mike Cousins, Chris Spatola. It's pretty simple in the first half. North Carolina was better in just about every category.
Yes, they were. I mean, they have 24 points in the paint. A lot of that off the bounce, just attacking Louisville, and then they have 7 offensive rebounds. I mean, they are mashing Louisville on the glass. A lot of this stuff is effort stuff, where Carolina came in here for a fist fight, and Louisville, it's almost like they kind of said, all right, we won there, now it's your turn. Just, that has not been who Louisville is all season, and Chris Mack, I guarantee, gave it to him at halftime.
They're facing their largest halftime deficit of the season. Previous biggest was 10 against Pittsburgh earlier this year in ACC play, which at 7-1 is also their only ACC loss. Start with a 3, and they did not shoot well from deep in the first half. Now just 3 for 13 on the game. Williams, Sutton, and Wara each with 1. And the foul is on Kobe White, his first.
And that's their 13th three-point attempt. And one of the deciding factors in that first game is how dominant they were up front. There just hasn't been an emphasis to throw the ball inside and play inside out.
They've had the emphasis on the wrong part.
The syllable?
Perfect. From the corner. Back iron. Sutton. The extra pass. The hockey pass. Cunningham 0 for 2. And Williams bodies his way to the bucket, what he could not do in the first 20 minutes. May wanted to go over the shoulder. Brooks found it, turns it into a bucket, and a foul as well against Jordan Wara.
If I'm Luke May, I'm checking the stat sheet after this game. Beautiful pass. What a dime over the top. You think the scorekeeper's giving him that assist?
Yeah, Chapel Hill. With Carolina led by as many as 19 points in a dominant first half. 4 between the legs. Splashes it through. Starting his 8th straight game. Trading spots with Darius Perry, who's been struggling to figure it out for Louisville. Williams flared. Brooks lost it through the lane. And last touch by the Cardinals, 13 to shoot for UNC. Second halves recently have been very friendly for North Carolina. The last 3 games in the second half, they've shot 60, 60, and 53% from the floor. Cunningham had the pedal to the floor, and Williams is off looking for his second 3 of the afternoon. High low.
That is vintage North Carolina early offense. Secondary break. You get the trail big, and it goes right into a high-low. A nice pass from May and a good finish inside by Brooks.
Eight on the shot clock for Louisville. Cunningham 41% from 3. Sutton just a hair below that. And falling away, hits it in front of his own bench. Williams got a good look, unable to convert. Probably about 20,000 in the building here today. College basketball's third largest venue. And no call to the disappointment of Cunningham trying to put it up. May runs the floor, calls for it, but Williams played him straight up.
And a nice job, Williams recovering, playing that without fouling. He just walled up and stayed big.
Yeah, with the pace of this game, Chris, how much Stephen Enoch do you think we'll see in the second half?
It's a good question, because he was 17 in that first matchup. He has really been a non-factor. And really that entire Louisville bench. Carolina's bench has come in, has made an impact in that first half. Louisville's has been nowhere.
Cam Johnson has made the biggest impact of all. 15 points. He's 5 of 6 from the floor. Cunningham steps through, and the ACC assist leader in conference play adds to his scoring tally. But the difference is still 15 as the Cardinals, here in the first 4 minutes of the second half, have been unable to chip away at the Tar Heels' advantage. Johnson understandably feeling the shooting stroke. Wara still looking to find his. Still sitting at 5 points. So why not try it out? There you go. May under the basket, a fight for it. Tipped at the baseline, stays in. Williams rattles it around and through. Devastating defensively for Louisville.
Luke May should get 2 of those points. I mean, what a battle inside by May to keep that thing alive, and he buys his team 3 points with his effort.
Strong board, strong move. Sutton. May was in there, and he gets called for the foul. But under the basket, Chris, he's been phenomenal.
He continues the battle. Look at this. He just keeps a hand on it, keeps it alive. No better time to knock down a 3 as Kenny Williams steps in.
You can argue which conference is the best in college basketball, but certainly the ACC makes a great case. 7 teams in the top 25, including 3 in the top 10. The Big Ten second with 5 in the top 25. Florida State turning it around, winners of 3 straight. After losing 4 out of 5, Leonard Hamilton's squad, a very dangerous group, and a knockout game today. NC State 24 points in their loss against a Justin Robinson-less Virginia Tech in Raleigh on their home court, mind you. Fewest points by an ACC team in the shot clock era, 85-86. So you've got a 3-way tie at the top of the league right now. Not looking good for Louisville, but plenty of time to go. And Duke did get a win today, but not in conference play as it was against St. John's.
That is a monster win for Virginia Tech. And it'll be interesting to see who they are going forward, how long Robinson's out. But teams, when a guy is out, and that first game a guy is out, can sometimes rally like they did today. And I'll tell you what, NC State's a good team, much improved. Kevin Keats saying the other night they're probably a year ahead of where he thought they would be. They have just had a hard time beating the best teams in this conference. They lost to North Carolina at home, lost to Virginia at home, lost to Virginia Tech. They just have not been able to beat the upper crust teams in the ACC.
Especially after the Virginia game on Tuesday night. You thought, all right, here's a team that shows what it's got, and it's pretty darn good. And then today was quite surprising, but see if Justin Robinson, who was in a walking boot today at PNC Arena, is able to go. Certainly the Hokies hope so, as they are back at home at Castle Coliseum Monday night on Big Monday against this Louisville squad. Brooks runs the floor, and that's exactly what will make Coach Williams smile.
Those bigs are taught from day one on North Carolina's campus. You run rim to rim. And a nice job hitting the big fella.
Enoch, the big man, into the game out of the timeout. Passes as he didn't have great position. Offensive board for Sutton, who's smothered by May. 4 under the basket, lost it, and May scoops it. Missed opportunity for Louisville.
Nice.
May wide open.
There's just zero talk. I mean, nobody on Louisville talking, and your defense, especially transition defense, becomes so much better if guys are willing to communicate. Again, I mean, this is the first big down for North Carolina's taught to run rim to rim. Garrison Brooks ends up in a short corner, and there's Luke May just trailing the play, and Jordan Wara just lets him go. You got to pass him off. You got to tell somebody.
That was, as you mentioned earlier, for Wara, one of the things that earned him more playing time. His scoring ability last year was certainly evident, but a commitment to defense was what changed things. Dwayne Sutton drains it from the corner, and it's back to a 15-point game here at the Yum Center. Johnson can work off the dribble. That's a mismatch. The size, however, was the mitigating factor, and the foul goes against North Carolina on the rebound. It's May's second.
Louisville basketball.
A little bit of dadgum disappointment.
Yeah, he's not happy with the positioning there when they came down, and it kind of cluttered things. I was trying to read his lips. I'm not the best. I'm not very fluent at the reading of the lips.
Well, if you could, at least that's one coach you know you could repeat what he said. Another kick out, another corner three. And it's good for Sutton. McMahon saw he missed an opportunity there at the top of the key. Could have had 3 free throws.
Their one consistent guy offensively, though, has been that guy right there, Dwayne Sutton. Got a little fight to him.
It's a Super Saturday top-ranked boxing card. It started with Spatola Cousins earlier today. A cheap shot. Uh-oh. The WBO featherweight title is on the line. 3 world title fights tonight. Alvarez Kovalev 2 for the WBO light heavyweight belt. I'm coming back at you. Oh, come on. Come on. It's not fair. It's not fair. So, I think we're even now. And the Cards are trying to get back even. Within 9. There's fight yet in the Cards. And a blocking foul is the call as White deftly navigated the lane.
You said it. Deftly navigated is the right way to put it. Look at the split of the ball screen up top, and then the body control to get around. And anytime you can slip by the defender on a play like that, 99% of the time, that's a block. How good has Kobe White been in conference play? He's their leading scorer in ACC play. And I think as he has gotten steadily better, that's one of the big reasons Carolina's playing better.
Luke May with yet another offensive rebound. This coming against the team Louisville that gives up the fewest second chance points in the ACC. They're letting them play under the basket. Cunningham sees space. Sees a great shooter in McMahon. Cardinals practiced that exact thing yesterday. Drive into the lane, kick it out. They just didn't anticipate that 6'6", 200 would be waiting there to intercept it.
And Ryan McMahon has passed up 2 threes in the last 2 minutes. I mean, that's, if you're Carolina, that's what you want him doing. Putting it on the floor and trying to be a playmaker.
Wow. High degree of difficulty for Williams. This is a grudge match for number 9 UNC and number 15 Louisville. The Cardinals were victorious by 21 the first time they played this year in Chapel Hill, handing Roy Williams the biggest home loss in his 16 seasons at the helm for UNC. Today from the jump, North Carolina has had a decided advantage. Going for the reverse layup, Enoch gets whistled. Well, if you've been cold here in January and February, think of August, when the ACC network will be here from ESPN and the ACC. It's 15 universities, one network. You can visit getaccn.com to learn more. Mike Cousins and Chris Spatola, glad to have you along today. Game number 2 of our college basketball quintuple header today. We've got Kentucky, Florida, Indiana, Michigan State, and number 1 Tennessee, Texas A&M coming your way later today.
You know, it's Groundhog Day, and that little rat better be right this year. It's been a brutal winter. And what did he not see his shadow? I don't know the difference. I don't think he saw his shadow.
There's Luke Murray you saw on the bench for Louisville, the son of Bill. Yes, that Bill Murray.
All I'm saying is, by the way, Groundhog Day, one of the great comedies of all time. That little rat, they're telling me, is predicting that we're going to have less weeks of winter. He better be right. I wonder if Ned Ryerson is in the building.
Cunningham got it off glass. The Cardinals have been able to put together a couple of streaks. Got it down to 9. And looking to get it done at this end of the floor. An off day for White, just 4 points, 3 assists. But he's got 4 teammates who have scored at least 10 today. He falls away and scores over Wara.
I mean, North Carolina has had an answer to every bucket. Louisville scores, his crowd stands up, and Carolina has answered in this second half.
And a ton of credit needs to be given to North Carolina defensively for being able to lock down Jordan Wara for the most part today. Double team to Perry inside for Williams.
Nice.
Second opportunity, that's the one for Garrison Brooks.
North Carolina is mashing Louisville on the glass. I mean, just absolutely pounding them.
hand in the lane no matter where Cunningham looked. He goes with 8 to shoot. White sends it quickly back to the hardwood. Stays here with 4 to shoot. Kobe White, 15 points a game. He's been pretty quiet today. Only has 6. But here against Wara, nowhere to go into the lane. Reverse it, put it up, splash it through.
Well, they haven't pulled away.
UVA up 48-39. Guys, back to you.
Only 4 on the shot clock, so the Cardinals needed something quick. And Sutton, who's got 19, that's a career high at U of L, comes up with the air ball. Did have 25 at UNC Asheville, where he started his career. Went to the NCAA tournament there. It's been that kind of day for Chris Mack.
Yes, it has.
Williams sends it long. Louisville recognizes an opportunity to run. Williams steps in front of Wara and takes the charge.
What a play. I mean, that's just a great play by a senior. He knows that Noir is going to try to step through this thing. Great anticipation and a tough play.
Johnson going baseline on Wara. 15 for Cam Johnson today. Both he and May have 15. Johnson unable to pull away out of that tie. Behind him, Brooks with a dozen. And Williams with 10. Darius Perry's got it. 68-53. Chris, you go back to the first matchup between these two teams. From start to finish, it was heavily balanced toward Louisville. Today, it's been heavily balanced toward North Carolina, or unbalanced, I should say, in favor of North Carolina. What's been the biggest difference?
They've played harder. Defensively, they've gotten into the ball, they've guarded the ball, and they have been outstanding on the glass.
Today is the Alice's Restaurant of college basketball Saturdays. You can get anything you want. You can get Kentucky, Florida. You can get Michigan State, Indiana. And you can get #1 Tennessee, Texas A&M. In the Big Ten, Joe Lunardi right now projecting 10 Big Ten teams into the tournament. We're 45 days away from the start of the tournament today. A little bit of a shakeup yesterday. Iowa giving Michigan its second conference loss of the year. And so Michigan State stands alone at the top of the league.
That was a bad loss for Michigan last night, even on the road against an Iowa team that has played well.
Offensive rebounds have been crucial today for North Carolina. 15 of them. And the difference between having to defend 25 or 30 seconds versus a minute can feel like a lifetime.
Well, and here's the difference. In that first matchup, North Carolina was 3 of 22 from 3. That 3 by Luke May makes them 6 of 22, so they're not that much better. They have this lead because they've done the other things. They've guarded, they've rebounded, they've turned Louisville over, and they've done some of those intangible work things that they were not willing to do in that first matchup. And to be fair, they have done a lot better in this 4-game run they're on since that Louisville loss.
As they go for their 5th straight win, hoping to be 7-1 in the ACC. It would also be their 9th win in their last 10 games. And if they do hold on, it would put an end to a 6-game winning streak for Louisville and hand them their 2nd conference loss, the only other one coming against Pittsburgh. Perry tries to shake Johnson and finds Williams at the left block. You know, no one should judge you as a bad guy for throwing a sucker punch at me earlier today with the boxing gloves on. That's a fair statement, right?
Who's judging me?
America.
That's what I figured. Wouldn't be the first time.
Also, as we said before, you can't judge Louisville or North Carolina too much just off of that 40-minute sample at the Smith Center. Today's a good example why.
Look, the psychology of sport is undefeated. Okay, in that first matchup, Louisville coming off a loss to Pitt, North Carolina coming off a win at NC State, and North Carolina had blown Pitt out. The psychology of sport, in many respects, took over in that game. It's the same here. I mean, Carolina got blown out. The worst home loss in the Roy Williams era there.
Offensive foul on that.
You knew they were going to come back ready to fight today.
Fight they have. 3:33 to go here in Louisville.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%.
North Carolina trying to solve this one away against number 15 Louisville on the road. UNC already 4-0 away from home in ACC play. 6 road wins as well. Most in the country, tied with Michigan State and Virginia for most among major conference teams. With Chris Spatola, Mike Cousins, glad you're with us today. Lots more college hoops coming your way. You're on ESPN. 3 games to go today. A fantastic way to spend your Saturday. Kentucky, Florida is next. You're on ESPN. McMahon trying it from 3. The only question is, I think for you, Chris, why didn't he try early?
It's a great point. I mean, that's what he's out there to do. Shoot threes and not hesitate.
Sutton swatted it, and as they have many times today, North Carolina has come up with the loose ball. Step back, White. Wow, again. The scales of effort tip heavily in favor of the Tar Heels today. Lots more hoops, top-ranked boxing later tonight on ESPN, and then it's SportsCenter with John Anderson and Kenny Mayne. Reactions from LeBron, from KD, from Steph after Lakers-Warriors Super Bowls tomorrow. How are the Patriots going to try and stop Jared Goff? And top moments from the Octagon, the Ring, and from courtside tables in Louisville, Kentucky. SportsCenter, midnight Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. We've got a timeout, 2.5 to go. Let's check in with the studio and see what else is going on.
Gallant Cup, Matt Berry, ESPN studio update. Off the bench, Lindell Wigington, 3-ball gives Iowa State the lead on Texas.
Cyclones have struggled to solve this 2-3 zone in the length of Texas, but Wigington, huge shot from a big-time player.
Cyclones up 5, coming up in just under 15 minutes. Ashton Hagens in Kentucky set to take on Florida. Jay Spinetti, Dan Dockett standing by.
Oh, it's a fun matchup of point guards in that game as well. With Andrew Nembhard for Florida, freshman out of Aurora, Ontario, Ashton Hagens, Gators with one of the best defenses in the country. But Kentucky's playing its best ball right now, winners of 7 straight.
Yes, they are. I mean, they are becoming one of those elite teams. You know, you think it's 6 or 7 out there right now. Kentucky is certainly one of them. And this Carolina team is putting their name in that conversation as well.
Yeah, Kentucky has gotten back into that conversation as they got on a winning streak after the early season loss. They have 2 losses by a combined 3 points. And Carolina, they win this game, they're going to be 7-1 in the league. They're a top 10 team in the country. Do you put them in the top tier with the Dukes and Virginias in this league?
If they play like this, absolutely. I mean, this has been the best that I have seen North Carolina guard the dribble today. They have guarded the ball today. Just starts there. They have sat in a stance. They have guarded the ball better today than they have done all year. And you know, let's take Duke, for example. 2 things you have to do against Duke. You've got to guard the dribble, because that's what a lot of what they do breaks down into, especially against Barrett and Williamson. And you have to defensive rebound. And Carolina can do those things if they play like they did today. I mean, this has been one of their best games There's no question that they belong in that conversation with those two teams.
They might not hit their scoring mark of 88 points a game, but you cannot doubt the dominance of their effort today. It's May, uncontested. And after this, it does not get easier for Louisville. This is maybe the most difficult February in all of college basketball. You've got a gauntlet. Carolina, turnaround 1 day to prep for Big Monday at Virginia Tech. Another top 25 opponent awaits in Florida State. And then you have Duke. Good luck.
Welcome to the ACC, Chris Mack.
They've got some nice quadrant 1 wins already. Michigan State, a win at Carolina, Seton Hall, but this will leave a bitter taste in their mouths, to be sure.
You know, it's interesting. You mentioned Kentucky and then this North Carolina team. Both teams have improved, and it's so important in college basketball to have a point guard. And when you have solidified that position, you become better. In the case of Kentucky, it's Ashton Hagen solidifying that spot. And in the case of North Carolina, it's Kobe White. I mean, he has become a much better player as we've gotten into conference. I think Roy Williams trusts him more. He is a talented player. His first name's Alec, by the way. Did you know that?
You know, I learned that in rewatching the first game. A wonderful 94 feet with Jay Billis. Alec Jacoby White.
You know, 94 feet, it has been on the beach in Maui. It has now been on the slopes of Michigan State's football field.
Where to next?
It's really diversifying. It's one of the best in-game segments in any sport.
I think next needs to be a water skiing segment. Although 94 feet would go really fast on water skis.
I think Billis can water ski. It's the head coach's choice.
Risk of injury really increases there. Inside 90 seconds. And the pressure is on from Louisville. Luke May, 20 points today, snapping out of a little bit of a funk. Had 4 against Georgia Tech, even though the rest of the team played pretty well. Roy Williams might not tell you so, but the 77-54 margin would indicate that. And he's done really well today. A double-double, 20 points, 11 rebounds for May. He's just got to try and catch John Mooney, who rattled off his ACC best 13th double-double today with the Irish in action, taking on Boston College. UNC goes back home. They'll see NC State for the second time this year in the midweek. And Louisville with that quick turnaround going to Virginia Tech. Part of history today at PNC Arena. Lowest scoring game in the shot clock era by an ACC team, holding NC State to 24 points.
You know, they had a whiteout here at Louisville today. I wonder what if we're keeping track of the records of teams that have whiteouts or blackouts, or, you know, do they go well? I guess is my question.
Well, for all the records I'm keeping, it's 0 for 1 today. 19,985 packing into the Yum Center, which seats about 22,000. And how about the support that Jeff Wall's squad is getting as well? The women's basketball team here at Louisville, playing earlier in the week, had more than 17,000 on hand to watch them play in what's been a very fun year in women's basketball as well, with more teams sitting at the #1 spot before the month of February began than in the last 7 seasons.
You know, obviously there was some redemption involved today for North Carolina, but let's not fool ourselves. That's not the only reason they won this thing going away. They're a darn good basketball team. And if they match this effort night in and night out with their talent, they become even better.
What do you think the biggest fix will be when Louisville sits down to watch film tomorrow?
Well, I think part of it is, they've got to figure out off of their bench. Like when guys are struggling, like, for example, War in the first half, like who comes in and gives you a punch? And so I think that, figuring out if VJ King can start to give you a little bit more of a punch off their bench. Is Darius Perry going to turn it around? I mean, look, they've had good moments. They won 6 straight coming into this, so the sky's not falling.
The season series is even. Louisville a win in Chapel Hill and UNC a win in Louisville. We await round 3, perhaps in March. 79-69, the final score. 3 more games to come here on ESPN. Kentucky, Florida is next. So on behalf of our entire crew, my partner with a strong right hook, Chris Spatola, I'm Mike Cousins. We say thanks for watching. So long from the Yum Center. We send it back to the studio.